Hey everybody, it's me, Albatross. Yep, I know, it took forever. I've been promising this video for like a week now, but I really wanted to make sure that I did my due diligence, and I wasn't just, um, making false connections and things like that. I really wanted to make sure. I'm still not totally sure, but I'm as sure as I think I'm going to be able to get at this point. But first I wanted to say, I know I've seen a couple comments, asking about me, like, the alley reposts, and I'm trying to post them in chronological order, so that way everyone can get the full story coming from her. But if you don't want to wait for me to repost them, you can always go to these two YouTube channels that I know about that has them. One of them is the YouTube channel is called God, Sex, and Love. That's one YouTube channel you can go to, and they've got a whole playlist of Allie's videos. And another YouTube channel, which is where I get most of mine from, is Risen from Ashes or Risen from the Ashes, all one word. So, yeah, either one of those YouTube channels, you can always, go if you don't want to wait for me. I'm not trying to, be the important thing is to get the word out, to bring awareness. That's the important thing. And, okay. So, with that said, oh yeah, one more thing. You can see on the screen that I've got a Twitter now. I don't have an Instagram yet, because when I went to go sign up for Instagram, hey, someone tell me in the comments if this is a thing that Instagram does usually. They asked me to provide picture ID, like my driver's license, and I don't know if I feel comfortable doing that. I mean, I don't mind putting my information in there, but actually sending a copy of my driver's license, I don't feel comfortable doing that. So if I can find a way around that, I will. But in the meantime, I'll just have to hold off on the Instagram thing. What else? I think that was like the main updates. Now, to the video. And you might be wondering during the video how this ties into finding the children in Allie, but it does, and you'll see in just a second. Okay, here we go. First, a disclaimer. I do not personally know Allie Carter or Shelly Carter, and that you all can read the rest on your own, but like, I really wanted to emphasize that I've never met them, I've never talked to them, I don't communicate with them or get tips from them, so it's very important you know that. And another thing that's important to know is that the person that I'm going to be talking about in this video, I've never actually heard Allie or Shelly talk about this person. Not once. So please don't, don't put words in my mouth here, okay? This isn't coming from Allie or Shelly, alright? This is coming from me, what I came across when I was trying to research Allie, okay? This is what I kept coming up with, a roadblock. And this person is that roadblock, as you can see, on my disclaimer here. I searched Allie's name 3 times, and I know I used a couple different wording, 3 different ways. The first time that I got the pop-up, I can't remember what Google terms I used, but I only glanced at it at the bottom of the Google results. And I thought, oh, I've never seen that before. But I didn't really think about it. I didn't really read it. So then the second time, I do remember the Google search terms I used. And the second time, the only Google search terms I put in was Allie's full name. Her first name, full middle name, and last name. And that was it. And then the second time it popped up. And I thought, what is that? And then, I glanced at it. But again, I'm still kind of new to this. So I didn't put the 2 and 2 together yet. And I thought, that's weird. Well, let me try the third Google search term. And the same thing popped up. which was this. In the third search term, as you can see, I put Allie's full name. I redacted her middle name. I'm not sure if she wants that out there. But I redacted her middle name. And the term I put, you know, her full name. And then at the word affidavit. That was all I put. And this came up a third time. A third time. And as you can see, it's according to Google, in response to a complaint we received under our U.S. Digital Millennium Copyright Act, we have removed one result from this page. If you wish, you may read the DMCA complaint. And I did, because, like I said, I'm not really familiar with the DMCA. I mean, I did some research on it after this happened. So, but when I clicked on the complaint, this came up. Now, this person or entity, I'm going to call it a person because, yeah, I don't... I'm just going to call it a person for the sake of this video. Alex Adams, yeah, that comes up. Saying that there was a complaint. And look at this date here. That'll be important later in the video, okay? Just keep that date in mind. March 23rd, 2024. So, I go to, like, research this, Alex Adams media entity. Couldn't find the entity... But then when I researched Alex Adams, I finally found Alex Adams and Alex Adams Media. Right here. The man on the left of the screen, that is Alex Adams. And his company, which is actually a sub-company under the main company, the umbrella company is Adams Technologies. And Alex Adams Media is like a subsidiary of Adams Technologies. And this is Alex Adams. That's him. Yeah. And it was strange because, like, every time, like, I Googled this guy, like, a whole different set of results would come up. But that DCMA didn't come up for his name, at this point at least. It was just Allie's name. And then he was the one, or Alex Adams Media was the one who sent the complaint. Which was weird to me, because it's like, because I know how AI works. And I know sometimes, because I looked into this a lot. And I know sometimes they can pull down like a bunch of stuff by accident. But I just think it's weird that nothing with his name was pulled down at this point. But Allie Carter? So yeah, obviously I was intrigued. I'm like, what? Who is this person? And what is going on? Why is he taking down Google results? Especially in relation to Allie Carter. Like I said, I've never heard Allie Carter or Shelly Carter reference this man or Adams Technologies or Alex Adams Media in any way, shape, or form. So that's why I was intrigued. I'm like, well, okay, who is this? What is this? Why are they suppressing Google results? So yeah, I finally did. I found 3 magazine articles that talked about this man. And since all 3 of these magazine articles are like a copy and paste of each other, I'm just going to go over one of them. The one by Star Net Worth. Okay. According to Star Net Worth, his occupation, he is CEO of Adams Technologies. And his net worth is allegedly $16.92 billion. That's right. He is a billionaire, according to Star Net Worth. Like a multi-billionaire. And Adams Technology is a company that includes things like technology, real estate, venture capital. And supposedly his annual salary is $50 million a year. And he has a real estate portfolio worth $500 million. Vehicle collection worth $20 million. I mean, as you saw in the picture before, he was in a Rolls Royce. Philanthropic contributions. He donated $500 million in scholarships. Not clear what kind of scholarships or where. $100 million to the Sierra Club, whatever that is, and $50 million to the Global Wildlife Conservancy. And some notable, well, yeah, he owns 15% stake at Adams Technology, which he's a CEO of, according to Star Net Worth, allegedly. And his personal life. He is known for privacy, family values, and philanthropy. And you'll see in a few minutes why that's funny. Why all of those things are funny. Okay, the article continued. Despite his fame and success, Alex Adams leads a relatively private life. I guess it depends on what you mean by the word private. But anyways, he rarely appears in the media. I'm pretty sure that's true. I mean, this is the first time I've ever heard of this person. Preferring to focus on his work and philanthropic efforts. It's known that he lives in a stunning $125 million compound in California, where he enjoys the fruits of his labor. Well, yeah, I agree with that. His commitment to philanthropy is a significant part of his personal life, with many of his charitable initiatives driven by his desire to make a difference in the world. He leads a relatively modest personal life and plans to donate much of his fortune to drive positive change. I mean, I guess in a way that's true. Adam's net worth story is an inspiring testament to how technological innovation and determined entrepreneurship can realize the American dream. He exemplifies using wealth and resources for the greater good of society. Adams will undoubtedly continue to create life-improving technologies while generously giving back along the way. You know, I have to say, Star Net Worth and the other two articles that talk about him, which I'll reference at the end and try to remember to put in the description so you can click to it. But yeah, you know, they are very, very, what's the word I'm looking for? It's very nice of them to paint Alex Adams in such a positive light, you know, because not many other porn stars get that luxury. That's right. You heard me right. Alex Adams is a porn star. And he also has a podcast. In the Alex Adams podcast, Alex Adams tells us he was in the Marines. However, that wasn't mentioned at all in any of the 3 articles I found on him. Yeah, that's true. I didn't see one mention about him being in the Marines. However, they also didn't mention that he also writes, produces, directs, and stars in pornographic videos. And they're called family therapy. That's right. Yeah, his porn videos are family therapy. And you'll get why. Yeah, but he has a very prominent porn career. Very prominent on Pornhub. I mean, like, I can't even, like he's huge on Pornhub. So, like, anybody watching who goes on Pornhub, they might have seen him before. But yeah, in these family therapy videos, him and his partners will role play as various family members, you know, whether it's mom, dad, brother, sister, stepmom, stepdad, stepbrother, stepsister, etc. And yeah, having sex with each other. And also portray relations with teenagers. Oh yeah, that's right. Now, I understand that he would probably say that they're not actually teenagers. That's just the role they're playing for the videos, right? But when I looked at some of these, but yeah, when I looked at, sorry, some of these girls look very young. That's all I'm going to say about that. And I redacted their faces because I absolutely did not feel comfortable putting their faces on here because how young they look. Like some of these girls don't even look like they have fully developed breasts yet. That's how young they look. But yeah, just in case you guys don't believe me, here's an example. Big brother, you know, has sex with his stepsister in a family therapy video. Oh, this is his profile. And as you can see, he has 4 billion views. Now, let's put that in perspective. Okay? Let's put that in perspective. The population of the United States isn't even 1 billion people. The population of the United States, Mexico, and Russia all put together is not 1 billion people. Now, I understand that 1 billion views doesn't mean like 1 billion people, but it just puts it into perspective how many people watch these videos, okay? It's a lot. But yeah, like, and here's an example of why I think that they're underage. Sisters, E's girl best friend steals my virginity. Family Therapy by Alex Adams. Yep, another example. Tiny redhead art girl. Little stepsister welcomes you home. And yeah, I redacted the pictures because they're very young and graphic. But yeah. And then, one where he's the little stepbrother. Yeah, I mean, it's just a lot. It's a lot. And they do this podcast too, right? He does a podcast with his assistant and one of his co-stars named Stella Berry. Now, she's apparently very big on OnlyFans. Like, she also has a very prominent career in porn. And the interesting thing about this podcast is that at first, it was just him and his assistant, Nick, there on the left. Yeah, the very first, 3 or 4 episodes, it's just him and him. And apparently the podcast was getting terrible reviews. I mean, not reviews, views. Like 1,000. Look at me sitting there saying 1,000 views is pitiful. But yeah, anyways, but for him, who has 4 billion views, on Pornhub, I mean, to him, that's nothing. So by the 4th or 5th episode, he gets one of his co-stars, Stella Berry, here to join the show. Because, they're so pathetic and pitiful that, per the norm, they had to get a woman and leech off her energy and light to get views. Because, yeah, she pretty much made the show. And I don't even agree with the stuff that she says or nothing, but, she definitely... I kind of feel sorry for her. If you watch the podcast, it's kind of sad. The way she talks about herself, the way she talks about how she got into porn, how she had to suffer for a long time. I don't know. It's just very unsettling, and it made me feel bad for her. She really doesn't have much self-worth. And I know that can be debate a lot of porn stars don't, but the way she talks about herself, she really doesn't have a lot of self-worth, and I think it's sad and unfortunate. But yeah. Okay. So yeah. Oh yeah, one more thing about this podcast. It's very weird this way, why they started the podcast is very unclear. In the first episode, him and Nick were talking about it. His assistant, Nick, this guy right here. And Alex Adams, this guy, was sitting there saying, Nick made me do this. Nick's making me do this podcast. Really giving the I don't want to be here energy. I'm just here because I have to be. But then in another episode, they're both saying that they are giving those, they don't want to be, they've always given that vibes from the beginning, even if it's buddy Nick, but by the 4th or 5th episode, they really don't want to be here, it feels like, to me, my opinion. And another thing that in this podcast that's weird is that at some point on one of the episodes with Stella, it's the whole episode, they're basically kind of talking about how to break into the porn industry, whether it's mainstream or on only places like OnlyFans. And it's strange because it's halfway through the episode, it's they suddenly get kind of defensive in a way for no reason. And they're I don't know what to tell you. If you got a camera and, an arm, you can make a porn. Dude, it's you guys are the ones that wanted to share this with us. To my knowledge, I didn't ask you. Did anyone ask them how to get into porn? So, it was, I don't know, it was very strange. It's like they're really giving the vibes that they don't want to be there. I don't know. That's all I'll say about that. But yeah. Oh yeah, the discrepancies. Okay. Between the magazine articles I read and what he says about himself on this podcast is crazy. Like, first of all, on the podcast, he claims he was in the Marines and was kicked out of the Marines or whatever, and then got into porn. But in the magazines, they say, oh yeah, and then he did say that he dropped out of Harvard in the podcast. He did mention that briefly. But in the magazines, they don't say anything about the Marines, nothing about the Marines, and they say he dropped out of Stanford. They say he dropped out of Stanford not to do porn, but to start his company. So, yeah, that's a discrepancy. There was a lot. Hold on, I wrote them down. Where did I put them? Okay, yeah. Another discrepancy. The company, he never mentions Adams Technology in the podcast. And when I did finally find public records on him, like, he's not the CEO of Adams Technologies, first of all, okay? It's someone else who's the CEO. Adams Technology is not worth $100 billion, apparently. I mean, it's still a pretty, wealthy company, but it's not worth billions, like the magazines say. And in the podcast, he goes on, there's several times he sits there and, talk, I'm just a broke, horny porn star. But, his words, not mine. So, but, I don't know. It's just, it's like, what is going on? It's like, oh, yeah, and another thing. All the articles say that he was born in Seattle. His company's based in Seattle, right? Well, in the podcast, he says he's from Maryland. And he also goes on to mention that guns are illegal in Maryland, which I fact-checked that. That's actually not true. You can get a gun in Maryland with the proper permits. But anyways, but yeah, what else? Oh, yeah, and the company is not even based in Seattle. It's based in, where is it based? Somewhere in Ohio. I got a picture of it in a minute. But yeah, it's based somewhere in Ohio. So there's a lot of discrepancies. I mean, it just goes on and on. I'm sure I'm forgetting some of them. But yeah, lots of discrepancies. Oh yeah, here's this.
Back again, unfortunately. I don't want to do this anymore. Me neither. I just want to go home.
So yeah, does that seem like they want to be there? No, not to me.
Back again.
Sorry. There we go. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay. And when I was looking at this podcast, there's something else I found that was interesting. At first, I thought that, that these were just normal trolls in their comments. But, okay, like this one. This guy, Christopher, whoever he is, be prepared and be ready to be rained down by a barrage and payload of B-83s. Which is a nuclear weapon. So yeah, and at first when I saw it, I'm like, oh wow, that's a crazy troll. But then I saw the same troll again in another comment. Same words, but he uses a different term at the end. This time instead of B-83s, he says nukes. And then he pops up in a third video on a comment. Be prepared and be ready to be rained down by a barrage and payload of unconventional weapons. So I thought that was a little weird. It was worded differently every time, almost like a coded message. But that could just be, whatever, my mind being crazy. But then I saw another comment from a different person here. And it says, from someone named Dan Murphy, it says, Alex, we got to get in touch, bro. I don't want anything tangible from you other than to speak with you on the phone or in person. Doesn't matter. This has nothing to do with business or money or anything. It's spiritually related, bro. You'll know what I mean when you hear my, in parentheses, Reader's Digest story and we speak for a bit. Now, I looked into it. I don't think this Dan Murphy guy was on Reader's Digest, unless he's using a different name. That's possible. But yeah, bunch of weird coded messaging. But yeah. So then I really get curious about this guy, because at this point, mind you, I hadn't found public records yet. But I'm like, who is this guy? Why does his story not track? Like, he's talking about himself on this podcast, but the magazines are clearly saying something different. So I try to look him up again. It popped up again. Again. Oh, wait, sorry, this is the old one. My bad. I hadn't even gotten to the next one yet. Sorry, guys, I'm getting ahead of myself here. I just wanted to go back to the old one and look at the date, okay? I don't think it's a coincidence that this was sent 2 days before P. Diddy's houses were raided. Maybe it's not connected. I don't know. But the timing of the next one we look at in a minute, I mean, I don't think it's a coincidence. Okay, and here we go. Why is Alex Adams Media suppressing Allie Carter's affidavits? I could think of 4 possibilities. 1, perhaps one of the individuals being accused in one of the affidavits hired Alex Adams Media to suppress this. 2, perhaps Allie Carter herself got this man, which I seriously doubt personally, or his company to suppress the affidavits, if they were getting released against her will. 3, some other individual or entity hired him to suppress them. Or the last possibility, it's actually Alex Adams himself or his company that's suppressing it. So, like I said, I don't know for sure. I don't know. There's a lot of weirdness going on. Like, Allie talked many times and spoken out about the porn industry many, many times. About Pornhub and things like that. About underage girls getting kidnapped and raped on Pornhub. And it's just weird. This guy's content really revolves around very young girls. And then I looked into it. If you could actually, remove information on the behalf of someone else. According to Google, generally you can't. But there are some exceptions. If someone has legal power of attorney over someone, or if they're acting on behalf of someone. And even though I've never met Allie or Shelly, I'm almost 99% sure they would never get someone like this guy to speak on their behalf. I just doubt it. I seriously doubt it. But yeah, and this was this is where we get into the next complaint that I found. Okay, and this time I Googled Alex Adams Technologies. And this came up again. And I wanted to point out, I think it's odd that one of his mom porn videos comes up, but yet there's still a result taken from the page. It's like, what is it that he doesn't want us to see that's worse than him fucking someone pretending to be his mom? I don't know. You tell me. I don't know. But he did wise up a little bit this time. And he used an AI company to pull these results. An AI company called Certas or something like that. On behalf of Redacted. So he did have the foresight to at least try to hide himself a little bit. But something I wanted to point out, I don't think this date is a coincidence either. Because if you guys will remember, back in June, there was a lot of companies and entities pulling archives, pulling stuff down off the internet, scrubbing the internet, So I don't think that's really a coincidence either. Oh yeah, and this is the company he used. As you can see, you can hire them to take some of your leaks down. If you have copywritten content, you can hire them. And they'll go through and, get it taken down. Oh, I don't know why I put this up here a second time. Oh yeah, but yeah, back in June. Here we go. Back in June, Comedy Central, MTV News, CMT, and TV Land, all of their online archives gone, taken off the internet by Paramount. Gone. So I don't find it coincidental that this was all going on in June when he sent that complaint. Same reason I don't find it coincidental The first complaint was sent 2 days before P. Diddy's raids. I don't find any of that a coincidence. Not anymore. I'm sick of believing in coincidences. There's just too many. There's just too many at this point, in my opinion. Oh, but yeah, in case you don't believe me about what the magazines are saying about him, just on December 9th, or in case you thought that maybe those were old articles. Nope, this was an article published December 9th, 2024. You know, after he's pulling stuff offline, it's almost like he's trying to push a whole different narrative about himself out there that has nothing to do with his porn career. You know what I mean? But as you can see, the magazine is saying he's the CEO, based in Seattle, 2 falsehoods, and that he's worth $16.92 billion. Now, I can't really confirm or deny that necessarily, but I have my doubts, and I'll show you why in a minute. Because either or, these magazines didn't actually vet and do their due diligence and research and just took everything he said, or they were lying for him. I don't know. I just, just with the way the mainstream media works, I can totally picture them just like taking his word and just writing it down like as fact. Oh, it's like, look, this guy's got a Rolls Royce, so, I mean, he's not lying, Because you know how people are when it comes to the rich. It's like, the rich know everything. They're like God, Or they could have just been straight up lying, which is also a possibility. The mainstream media is known to do that all the time. But anyways, I digress. Oh, but yeah, it took me like 3 days to actually find public records on this guy. Yeah, it took me 3 days. And I can't even begin to tell you how frustrating this process was. Like, I've never had such a hard time finding out concrete information about a billionaire before. Never. Let alone a billionaire porn star. Like, isn't that weird that a billionaire porn star is like... I don't know. Like, this whole thing is weird and it stinks. It smells like shit. It stinks. It smells like shit. So, in the public records, I found some interesting things. According to his public records search, he's had 2 bankruptcies. Yep. One in 2007 and one in 2015. So exactly the 8-year period, like the 8-year requirement it takes to be able to file a second bankruptcy. Like clockwork, he filed a bankruptcy. Now, I don't actually know if billionaires can file bankruptcy. I didn't think they could. But let me know in the comments, can they? Let alone file bankruptcy twice. Twice. Yeah, and according to these articles, he became a billionaire a long time ago, like before these bankruptcies. So I don't know what's going on. Maybe he's not a billionaire at all. Maybe it's just all bullshit. Maybe he really is just a broke, horny porn star in his Rolls Royce. I don't know. I don't know him personally. But I did find some other things out in his public record. Like, for example, he wasn't born in 1975, like the magazine articles tried to say. And I can't find anything that verifies him being a Marine. However, I'm not saying that he wasn't. For some reason, I feel like that part might be true. But that's just my opinion. I can't confirm or deny it. Also, can't confirm he was born in Seattle either. Can't deny it, though, but can't confirm it. But I can confirm, yeah, that his company is definitely not based in Seattle. It's not. There it is. It's based in Mentor, Ohio. And he is not the CEO. And I've got receipts to prove this. Okay, I pulled it up. Adams Technology. Headquarters, Mentor, Ohio. Oh, yeah, and the revenue isn't nearly as high as they said either. Yeah, like right here. Okay. Adam Tech's estimated annual revenue is currently $14.3 million per year. Now, that's the current estimate. Maybe it was higher before. I don't know. But that article was published just a few weeks ago, and they were saying he was a billionaire, and this was a $1 billion company. But yeah. Yeah. Interesting, right? Oh, yeah. Wanted to leave this video off on this.
Oh, honey, come to bed. Make love to my titties. And I'd say, no, wench. I yelled at. I remember there's one time, like, distinctly, like, being like, "No, bitch, I have to make this fucking work. Yeah. Or I'm gonna work at Home Depot and fucking kill myself. I don't have triple D tits like you do. I'm fucked if I don't figure this out. Get some triple D tits, Alex."
But yeah, that's the kind of guy we're dealing with here. So like I said, let me leave off by reminding you all. I've never heard Allie or Shelly mention these people, this man, nothing about him. But it is weird because he is definitely suppressing, like, Allie Carter's information for whatever reason. Maybe accidentally, maybe someone else got him to, but I don't know. There's just too many coincidences with this guy, like where he lives, the businesses he's involved with, how he's trying to hide who he is, when he was born, how much he's worth, how much his business, like, you know, I like, this guy, like who the fuck is this guy? Who the fuck is this guy? But anyways, that was what has been occupying me for the last 3 days. And I felt like I had to share because I didn't know what to make of all this. I just know that just be careful and really do digging because they are pulling stuff offline as we speak. So you want to find information, you can't just trust Google. You're going to have to really dig, really dig. But anyways, that's what I got for that. I'll be back with some more Allie reposts. Thanks for listening.